Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today, we're going to be discussing the status of the $2,000 stimulus check and also details on unemployment insurance. I'm going to tell you what to expect with that $300 federal boost, who qualifies, what happens if you have a little unemployment, not a lot, not more than $100 a week. Do you still get it? I'm answering all those questions in this video. So please give a like to this video. It sincerely helped me out. It pushes the video out to more people and gets information out further. So please, a quick like, that's all I ask. And if you're new here, consider subscribing. I make personal finance videos and stimulus videos all the time. Now, with all of that being said, let's just jump right into the news. And before we get into it, comment below if you've received your stimulus check as of now. I know a lot of people have. I personally haven't received the stimulus check in my bank account. I'm going to look for it on Monday. We'll see what happens. Comment below if you've received it. Now let's get into it. So what is the status with the $2,000 stimulus check? Well, here's the lay of the land. The $600 per individual stimulus check obviously passed, but they want to true it up to $2,000 because a lot of people are struggling. Now, it has support from President Trump. This number, $2,000, came directly from President Trump. He tweeted it out. He said that he has support for this. He wants to see it done, and he wants it to pass. Now, it passed the House of Representatives. The Democratic-controlled House of Representatives actually passed that bill and sent it to the Senate. That's kind of interesting, sent it to the Senate. But anyway, they sent it there, and it was not yet voted on a standalone basis. The reason is because the Republicans in the Senate don't want to vote on it unless it comes with two things: voter fraud investigation, a panel specifically dedicated to investigating voter fraud in the 2020 election, and number two, repeal of Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. Both of those things aren't related to the stimulus check, but they want to couple it because those are two high priority items for the Republicans, and because they control the Senate, they don't want to give away something unless they get something. Now, the Democrats in the Senate want to have a standalone bill. Many in their party have actually said that they're very frustrated and they will hold up Congress, such as Bernie Sanders. He says he's going to filibuster the end of Congress unless they vote to actually have the $2,000 stimulus bill voted on a standalone basis. What's really interesting is that a recent poll was done and shows that 62% of Americans blame the Republicans for failure of the $2,000 stimulus check for passing. Now, the reason that is especially significant is because of those Georgia Senate runoff races that are taking place in a few days that is going to decide the fate of who controls the Senate in 2021 and beyond. Now, the reason why all of this even matters is because that's the last branch of government that isn't controlled by the Democrats. And if the Democrats control the House, the Senate, and the presidency, well, they're going to be in shape to pass basically whatever they want. So what does Mitch McConnell think? Well, he's the Senate Majority Leader for the Republicans, and he says, quote, "This is socialism for the rich." That is, the $2,000 stimulus checks are not narrowly targeted. They would go to a lot of people who are rich, and therefore, this is socialism for the rich. That's his take. He said that 4 times in a speech that he gave, that this is some form of socialism for the rich. And that is why he doesn't want to support it. And that's why many in his party don't want to support it, because it is not narrowly targeted. Now, whether or not that's fair, that's for the American people to decide. That's his take, and that's the contention right now between the Democrats and the Republicans. It does not look like they will get together and pass a $2,000 stimulus check before this session in Congress ends tomorrow. Now, all of that being said, it likely is the case that it'll be brought up again in the House, which is controlled by the Democrats in 2021, as soon as next week or the week after. I highly anticipate this to come about again and a renewed push for this $2,000 stimulus check to come once more. I'm going to be covering that as soon as it comes out and all the news, so subscribe if you want to stay informed. Now let's get into unemployment insurance. For those people who want to know more about unemployment insurance, the status of that, let's just jump right into it. So basically, to clarify any of the confusion out there, if you receive any state unemployment insurance at all, just like in the CARES Act, you will receive the $300 federal boost. You could receive $1 of state unemployment insurance and you will receive that $300 federal boost. It's not like the executive order a few months ago where you had to make at least $100 a week in state unemployment insurance to qualify for that extra couple $100 boost. That's not the case. If you receive any state unemployment insurance, you will receive that $300 federal boost. Now, let's talk about different states here, because people have asked, when am I going to be receiving it? When am I going to be receiving the renewed pandemic unemployment insurance, that $300 federal boost, any of those things? And the answer is it depends on your state. I know that's frustrating, but different states are ahead of the curve versus other states. For example, California, if you're a California resident, they said the $300 supplemental payments will start the first week of January. That is right now. And it'll actually notify people when to recertify if their benefits have already expired. California will do that. They'll notify you if your benefits have expired in order to recertify to get your unemployment insurance benefits. Now, Florida has not come out with a timeline. Florida has not come out with a timeline for unemployment insurance recertifications, that extra federal boost. They haven't actually been proactive and said anything. New York is like California. They said they're starting their benefits next week. They're also going to be notifying you to recertify. But regardless, no matter what state you're in, just rest assured that you will get back pay until December 26th. If you're eligible, you'll get it from December 26th on. So it could take a few weeks for your state to come out with unemployment insurance and actually roll that out and pay you. And that's frustrating, but just know that you will get back pay to December 26th. You will not get back pay from before then if you were not receiving unemployment insurance then already. If you have any questions, look at my previous video on unemployment insurance. Comment below with any video ideas you want me to do. If you want me to cover in detail any of the questions you have, comment below. Now let's talk about some miscellaneous news. The Georgia Senate races for Loeffler and Perdue, those two Senate Republicans that are up for re-election right now, are taking place in just a couple of days. The races right now, the polls are basically as dead even as you could be. It looks like it's going to come down to the wire. The Republicans just need to hold on to one of those two Senate seats in order to maintain control of the Senate. And that's going to be very, very significant for policy, for stimulus checks, for unemployment insurance, taxes, everything else. All of that is going to matter with those two Senate races. Some other interesting news that happened lately is that the Senate, which is currently controlled by the Republicans, voted to actually override the veto that President Trump laid on the defense spending bill, $740 billion or so, by a margin of 81-13, well in excess of that two-thirds majority they needed. That is the first time that President Trump has vetoed a bill that has been overridden by Congress. That has happened to every president in recent memory, but it's interesting to note because that defense bill actually is going to create a commission on changing the names of the bases, symbols, displays, monuments, and paraphernalia honoring Confederate commanders and regulated troop withdrawals. It's basically going to establish a commission to rename a lot of those military bases, and it's also going to regulate troop withdrawals from certain areas like Afghanistan, something that's going to constrain future presidents, and certainly President Trump, as he's still a president now, it's going to constrain him from withdrawing troops in the Middle East. President Trump isn't too happy, and he tweeted out, "Our Republican Senate just missed the opportunity to get rid of Section 230, that is that liability protection for internet firms from liability stemming from the users' posts, like Google and Facebook." He says, which gives unlimited power to big tech companies. He's not a fan. He thinks that they're biased against the right wing. Pathetic, Mr. Trump tweeted on Friday. So that's pretty much how he feels about that defense spending bill. That absorbed a lot of the energy and focus in Congress, which is partially why the $2,000 stimulus check kind of fell behind and didn't get passed, or actually didn't get a vote really before Congress is expected to end session tomorrow. That's part of the reason why it has happened. And now one other interesting thing before we end it, the United States has more cases and deaths now due to the pandemic every 5 minutes than Taiwan has had all year. Now, I found that to be very shocking. Really doesn't have a lot to do with the stimulus, but it kind of overlays the pandemic in the United States versus other places, how we've handled it versus other places, and the kind of economic fallout that has resulted. And basically, a lot of people are frustrated because the government has been, essentially saying that no places can stay open, but we're also not going to give big stimulus checks and unemployment insurance like other countries are doing. I know that's frustrating to a lot of people. Hopefully, we'll see some new momentum going forward in 2021. With that being said, I hope you have a happy new year, and I hope you stay safe and healthy out there, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.